Hey, it's Chronologically Gaming, the only channel that's perpetually retro because we're playing every video game in order of release. Watch the entire video game industry flash right before your eyes. Welcome everyone to nearing the end of August 1982, where we were last on the Apple II. Lots of Apple II games recently, and we played Rendezvous, a very ambitious space shuttle simulator. Let's see what our next game is. It's no surprise, we're still on the Apple II, and this is Ribbit. Give you three guesses, or I'll give you one guess of what Ribbit's all about. Let's take a look at the box. This is by Piccadilly Software. The Apple II or Apple II Plus, you'll need 48K for this. Written by Chris Eisnagel. I'm sure I'm mispronouncing that one, but way to go, Chris. We flip it over on the back, and oh, wow, they keep this pretty bare bones. The object of the game is get all your croakers safely to their holes and avoid being run over or falling in the river. And now we know why. They can't go in the river because the current's too strong. Thanks, Frogger on the Atari VCS. The strategy is, there's strategy, that's funny. Movies, croaker using the keys and the keyboard, try not to get run over by traffic on the highway, and don't jump into the river. If you successfully finish a level of play, the next level is faster and more dangerous. Nice. And there it is where you can write to Piccadilly and tell them you ripped off Frogger, which I'm sure we're going to see. Any other artwork we have for Ribbit? The artwork, what is with the front of the box? This looks more like a psychedelic front of the box. Are we going to be playing not as a frog then? Or it's very, very strange. And then we also have the inside sleeve because this would have been technically inside of a baggie that looked kind of like this. Very nice. And we also have the 5 1/4 floppy disk you would have played at the time. Yes, the croakers hopefully will not breed like lemmings. I don't want to play that one again. Yeah, there you go. And if you have a sleeve, or you're collecting the sleeves, that's what it would look like, with an example of the screenshot. It's time to pop in and play Ribbit by Piccadilly Software sometime at the end of August, around August 27th is what we say, 1982. So this is Chris Eisnagel, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, and also Lance Fortnow that did this one. Very nice. So this one has two modes. We have a play mode and we have a demo mode. And they're starting with an attract mode, like an arcade game. Do they give us a cutscene? Because Frogger technically didn't have cutscenes like Pac-Man did. At least not to the level of Pac-Man or Donkey Kong. That's a whole nother level. Miss Pac-Man and the cutscenes. It's pretty cool seeing every single video game. We have games from the arcade, and Lupin 3 was one of the first ones that we saw in the arcades that had cutscenes to play. Oh, yeah, I guess that's it. All right, so if I'm not going to do a demo. Let's go right into it. I'm ready to play. Oh, look at that. Oh, very nice. So if you think of all the Frogger games we've seen so far, we've already had some really good ones, particularly on the Atari home computer, had a game called Meltdown. That was very well done. And then, of course, on the Atari home computer, we've had, or on Atari VCS, we've had the official Frogger Come Home. But this is before the other releases for home computers, like by the Cornsoft group. So just bear that in mind. This looks the part. We also just recently played a game on the Apple II called Cricketeer. That was all right, but there's been tons and tons, about 17 different Frogger games. Oh, if I just stand here on the road, I die. That's nice. Oh, because the time runs out. That's right. So the meter right here by my shoulder is the time. But I mean, look at that. It looks the part. Just think about it, though. We played 17 different Frogger around that range. Well, joystick didn't work for my controls, so I'm keyboard only. And I'm using IJK or IJ, K, and M to control the frog. So that's all you need to move around. It responds pretty well. I have a slight slowdown, like we're chugging the Apple II a little bit, but this looks very, very well done. Let's see if we can go off the side of the screen. No, and we die. We played a couple of Frogger variants that allow you to do the wraparound. This one is not the case. Come on, Ribbit. Still can't go in the water. Just got to make it to the other side. Yeah, look at some of the logs. They feel like they're pushing the Apple II too far. Man, I love Frogger, though. This still would have been a great title before a lot of the official ones start showing up on home computers. Yes, for the casual gamers, but the hardcore Frogger gamers are the ones that want to play straight, just like in the arcade. I haven't seen Miss Frogger, or whatever the name is for the Frogger girl. And there's also no bugs to pick up at the top. This one looks more authentic than Cricketeer that we played just recently, but this is performing a lot better than some of the other variants we've seen, especially on the Commodore VIC-20. No offense to that computer. And I'm using the same keyboard keys that developers would use to program. Here we go. Yeah. Working great. We got our happy frogs up at the top. Yeah, for the Apple II, this is nice. This is a well-made title. Especially if you're hankering for some Frogger. Uh-oh, this doesn't look good. Give me something. Nope, didn't make it in time. Not really. Lag's all right. Or very minimal lag. Oh, we already got the game over. But for a Frogger game, it's pretty good for the time. All right, so let's play this again. The demo would just play itself, so if you were going to run this in your computer store and have people marvel at Frogger, you could do that. Man, but I love Frogger so much. We've only seen the official Frogger on the NEC PC 6001 and then at home on the Atari VCS. Tons and tons of Frogger type games. This one looks closer to the part. It actually reminds me of what we're going to be seeing later. So well done. Didn't know about this one called Ribbit. But I still wouldn't say this one's as good or as ingenious as something like Meltdown that we saw on the Atari home computer. I want to see if we clear the top, if it has anything special or switches up the gameplay. I'm pretty sure what we're going to see on this screen is what we get because of gameplay I've seen online or other people playing the game. It's pretty much this screen. Considering the other Frogger games we played, it's responding well enough. It is not as solid as the Atari VCS as far as input lag goes. Yeah, you can see how I'm kind of jerking along. Slow. I wouldn't fault it too much, though. Of all the games we played on home computers, I'd still say it's an above-average title. Especially if you want to play some Frogger. So we last rated Meltdown. There we go. You get a little beep. Yeah, then it moves to the next one. Nice. Speeds everything up. So it's not including the Miss Frogger we haven't seen yet. Oh, there we go. We got flies at the top. Okay. So maybe they'll add it on later with speeding up some of the game. Senior Frog. Yes. And it kind of looks like, yeah, good point. The Coco 2 one. All right, so there you go. That is Ribbit. Of all the games we've seen on home computers, it's not as good as some of the other titles we've seen that are Frogger ripoffs for the home computer, but I still say we haven't seen a lot of official ones on the home computer front, so I'm going to say 3.5 stars of everything you could play up to this point. Scruffy's going 4 stars, very nice. Yeah, I wouldn't say it's that high, but it's still a well-done game, and you would have enjoyed this considering everything else we've seen so far. Lots of fun. And if you're like me, I'm a big Frogger fan, so I welcome as much, and I'd like to play as much as possible. All right, with that, let's see our next game after this commercial break.
Not every great movie or great arcade game makes a great home video game.
That's true, it doesn't.
When Mattel Electronics turned Tron
it's magical.
to Tron home video games, we made sure
there it is, the one we're going to play right now.
Found its way into your home.
That kid is really excited for Tron.
Against a recognizer, if you last that long. 4 great Tron games, 2 for Intellivision.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have to see some other ones later.
From Mattel Electronics, games as good as we say they are.
Games as good as we say they are. All right, I'll take your word for it. Here we go on the Mattel Intellivision. This is Tron Deadly Discs. Let's take a look at the box. So Tron Deadly Discs is the other mode I was told they were going to program into the arcade, but it didn't become part of all the mini games you could play. So instead of it being lost in the arcade, they ended up bringing it home. So here we go. This is Tron Deadly Discs. We're going to see the release later on the Atari, but the very first one is here on the Mattel Intellivision. Look at that. Oh, I love the Tron artwork. There's so much Tron. The hype of this game and Disney is fantastic. Yes. Yeah, don't take their words for it. I love that marketing tactic. As good as we say they are. So we flip over the back, and it's got a couple screenshots for us. This is based on the futuristic adventure motion picture from Walt Disney Productions. Now, Walt Disney, the very first game we ever saw was in the palm of your hand, where you were playing as some of the characters on Mickey Mouse. But this still seems bizarre that we're mixing Tron and Disney, because we don't see a lot of things on the home consoles that are Disney. Your task is to bring Tron safely through battle after battle against the computer-controlled attackers. Lethal saucers are the weapons. It's a soaring, blocking, running fight. Warriors come in, Tron 3 at a time, wave after wave, throwing discs. Knock out the giant recognizer and win bonus points. It's one player only, which is kind of a shame. This feels like it should have been a multiplayer game. But they got 4 different skill levels, realistic warrior attackers. Warrior attacks come in Tron from all sides. Try the fast exit teleporter on one door and go out the other. Action sound, swishes of flying discs. Nice. But does it have talking? I feel like we need to have every Intellivision game talk now that the IntelliVoice is out. Yes, that's what I heard too. The movie bombed. Maybe that's a take on where they do licensing video games, because this was one of the very first times that a movie tie-in with computers and video games all came together. And we're going to see this a lot later when licensed games take over. This is very refreshing that this is not all over the place. It's pretty much only Tron right now. Oh yeah, the arcade game was 5 for me as well. Yeah, it was incredible. All right, so we also have the overlay that we're going to put over our Intellivision controller. This one plays and controls kind of similar to Night Stalker or the Advanced Dungeons & Dragons that we played, where you can move around with the disc and then fire using the number pad like this. They keep it kind of simple. And we also have the cartridge we're going to pop in. Oh man, so cool. With an example of some artwork from the movie. Oh, nice. Hiding in the doors, I'm going to have to give that a shot. Here's the manual for Tron, Deadly Discs. The first time you could play this on your Mattel Intellivision. Most of the manuals on Mattel say for color TV viewing only, because we're still on the back and forth between black and white and color. When we originally saw the Atari VCS, they had that switch for black and white televisions or color. I was one of the kids that was playing all on black and white. I didn't have a color television until I think I was 9 years old. Maybe even a little older than that. All right, so the object of the game is score points. Who knew? By knocking out computer-controlled attackers with flying discs. Your task is to bring your man, Tron, you get to play as Tron, safely through battle after battle. Attacking warriors are also armed with destroyer discs. They'll come at Tron in wave after wave of 3 against 1. You get them, or they'll get Tron. Game difficulty increases dramatically in the later stages. 100,000 points is a good score. 1 million points are entirely possible. Yeah, probably not here on the live show. So here's our controls. Very, very simple. The buttons on the side don't do anything. All you're going to be using is the overlay. So the main numpad buttons and your disc to move around. It is kind of like a twin-stick shooter. Not as fast-paced as something like Robotron 2084, though. Oh, really? As long as you can remember? Maybe you were one of the lucky kids then. So there's the fire buttons. You can move, block, and shoot. Oh, that's right. The center key is your block key. Got to have that. So there's your block button, so you can deflect some of their discs that fly at you. And then we also have playing a different skill level. So when it begins the game, the main screen or title shows up. You select the speed you want. Slow, slower, slowest. And I think you move the disc or automatically at the same game for fastest speed of all. As the game starts, Tron can stand 3 hits from a wave of attackers, so it's not instant death once you get hit once. Warriors destroyed by a disc from Tron will replace themselves every 10 seconds unless the grid is cleared by destroying the whole wave of 3 warrior attackers. When a new wave of 3 attackers appear, Tron can again take at least 3 hits. In addition, Tron, Bulldogs, and Guards recover from hits on a daily basis. They recover and continue to recover each hit every 4 seconds until the maximum level is reached or that particular combatant is destroyed, or de-rezzed, as they would have said in the movie. Oh, the clicker! I didn't have a clicker for it. No remote here. It was all on my TV. Had to move up, select the channel 3, and then move on. All right, so how do you play the game? Begin, you can use the directional disc or any button, and the action begins. You're Tron, who's played as the red character. All the warriors are blue, at least in the game start, and you use the keypad numbers to move around and then block to ward off warrior discs. So you have 2 principal ways to win or score, because this is a score attack. How long can you last until you die? You destroy or de-res the computer-controlled attackers by hitting them with a yellow disc from Tron, blocking the disc with a shield, And then bonus points are awarded by clearing the grid of attackers. Tron must destroy all 3 attacks before they are replaced. The bonuses earned is 5 times warrior value on the stage game. And then bonus points are earned by knocking out the Recognizer. Bonus earned is 10 times warrior value. Remember, the higher point totals are earned for 20,000, 100,000. Yeah, it's all about the points. Gotta get those points. Keep staying alive and attack as many as you can before you die. There's the score table over there for those that want to get the best, highest score. Yes, I see in the chat, I did the same thing. I don't think I had a remote control even on my color television, because the television I had, it was in my room, so I just walked up and changed the dials. And once you had the game controller, that's all you needed. You didn't need to go on the television anyway. So the computer-controlled warriors, we have light blue, purple, and dark blue. The farther you get, they're going to get harder and harder. And then orange warriors. I don't think I ever even saw the orange warriors whenever I played. We have the disc of Tron is yellow. Warrior discs are normally blue, brown, do double damage. They do score 2 hits on Tron. White discs are homing discs. They score 1 hit, but they chase Tron like a guided missile unless blocked or unless the white disc hits a border. No disc is deadly when returning thin flying discs to the damage. And then we also have the doors that you can warp through. Doors open when warriors are entered the battle against Tron. Doors shut automatically whenever warriors are replaced by the next set. Doors can be jammed. You can make Tron run into the center of the opening and then hit any door center with a disc from Tron and then teleporting. Look at all this. I never had the manual to get all these cool tips from the game. Oh, I love that, Atlas. Keep it coming. Successfully execute a teleport and Tron will automatically recover 1 hit. Here's the good news and the bad news. The good news is knock out the big Recognizer and win big bonus points. Oh, the Recognizer from the movie. The bad news is if Tron touches the Recognizer, the game is over. What's more is the Recognizer is hard to destroy. The only way to knock out the Recognizer and win the bonus is score a direct hit on its eye, which is at the top. So the eye is white. You must hit it straight on from the top or the side. No other hit will work. Hit the white eye and the Recognizer will start to spark, stop, and sink out of sight, and you've won the bonus points. The Recognizer comes on to repair jammed doors with a black beam. The beam is harmless to Tron. Recognizer's eye will turn white just before black beam appears. So much things in the game. Now, when I first played, I just popped this in and went for a few rounds, but never knew there were all this involved in the game. So nice. So cool. As soon as the Recognizer stops, he sends out a paralyzer probe. Probe will go after Tron. If Tron gets touched by the probe, Tron is stopped cold. You're basically paralyzed. You can't move until the Recognizer is finished unjamming all doors. Repairs finished, Recognizer and probe will leave, and Tron is free again. And we have the winning tips. Use both hand controllers. Work the wheel with one hand and fire direction keys with the other. Wait, you can use 2 hand controllers? So, wait a second. You do have a true twin stick. I didn't know that. I got to try that out. So what? Maybe we got to plug in 2 controllers. I thought you had to do 1 in the number pad only. So that's cool. Practice blocking. Very nice. Keep an open door behind you for emergencies. Watch out for the Recognizer. Yeah, there's a lot of tactics. Who knew reading the manual would give you better tips on how to play the game? And then if you want to play a new one, you just reset the game. Wow, way more than I thought coming from the manual from Tron. So we have the original one by Mattel, and then a later one by Intellivision Corporation in '87. We're going to play the first one. Let's pop it and play Tron Deadly Disc. This is Mattel Electronics. Steve Sense did this at the end of August 1982. It's time to go. All right, so Tron. Oh, look at that. The copyright by Disney. And we're in. I am in the center Tron. Let's go ahead and pop them. There we go. Let me make sure my block works. I believe it's 5, right? Yeah, there it is. So you have to use the block and then hit the block button again to stop blocking. All right, I think we got the first part of the controls right. Now you can fire in different directions, but it's kind of like your disc is a boomerang. Once it flies out, then you have to wait for it to come back. And you can only do a D-res when you have the first throw of your disc. So as it comes back, it's not going to hurt anybody. It's only the first one. But notice that all the characters, majority of them are using the animation we saw first in Night Stalker on the Intellivision. Which is kind of in the pseudo go, go, go mascot of the Intellivision. Oh, I think you got a piece of me. Yeah, you got 1 hit on me. There's 2. You got to be able to use that block. There it is. I want to go for the fast speed too, because right now we're playing, I think, on the normal mode. Great sound effects when it comes to de-resing the enemies. And this gameplay is great for the home console. It's almost like a more strategic version of Berserk on one screen. Compared to the Atari Intellivision or the Atari VCS version that we played recently, this version is like a fine-tuned game. Not to say this worse than the Atari, but this feels like a lot more time went into the mechanics of the game. Some of the games that could come close is Berserk on the Atari, and then Marauder that we've seen on the Atari. Man, if you were a fan of the film, though, this would be so cool. All right, I want to try to see if I can get on the left side and block the... There we go. Break some doors so they can't get in. So while the disc is coming back... Oh, there's a good hit. You have to watch for the... While the disc, your disc is coming back, you want to be able to move out of the way of their discs. And notice that when the disc is... It looks like a square. That means that the disc is coming back, so it won't do any damage to anyone. They color-coded it very well. It's bright, vibrant, so much fun. Let's block this other one. Let's see if we can get it. Go. Got it. I wonder why I didn't hit him. But you can move and fire in the same direction, so it's almost like a slower-paced Robotron 2084. Because you're waiting for that disc to come back. Oh, they got me. I thought I could block enough, but nope. Yeah, I would definitely play this too. Of all the games you can play on a home console, this one is really fun. Now I want to try what they said in the manual. Let's do the 2-player. Do we have to totally restart to go? Let's just do a reset. Okay, let's do a reset. I'm going to plug in 2 hand controllers and see how this runs. But for now, I want to go ahead and do a faster speed. All right, let's see. All right, so they did program it, but it's not what I thought. So the disc, if you have 2 hand controllers plugged into your Intellivision, both hand controllers are going to be moving Tron with the disc. And then the other hand controller can use the... So they're basically saying that you can have one hand on one hand controller on the disc and another hand on the other hand controller using the number pad, instead of having to cramp your hand together and use both. So in a way, it would help a little bit, but I thought they were going to use the discs on one hand controller for your shot, and it does not. Okay, so I'm going to do a reset. That was a cool experiment. I was hoping to be a little bit better, but that's still all right. All right, so here we go. Fast speed. No way, how did that miss him? It's just barely out of range. So you can see when their disc comes back as a square, it doesn't hurt you. Let's go ahead and block these doors. Oh, you totally missed. And the longer you last, then you're going to see other enemies that show up. Or harder enemies, like it said in the manual. You're only going to get attacked by 3 at once. There we go. Let's block some of these doors so they can't warp in. Nice. There we go. Gotta wait for it to... There. His is coming back. Good. What is that guy doing? He's just huddled over. I wonder if that was a glitch. He just was hanging out. All right, looking good. Let's see if we can block the one down here. Nice. All right, looking good. That's true. We were playing on a faster mode, and it only gets slower from there. When I was testing out the 2 hand controllers at once, you could see it goes even slower than that one. Giving you some time to get used to the mechanics. There you go. You want to get them to fire, and then once they fire, then go for him. Oh, I can't believe he changed his movement. Let's get him right here. Oh, missed me. Okay, and you also got to be ready on the block button to come back. But a great title. Intellivision for the home console right now is the only console that's doing anything close to the twin stick shooter, where you can move and shoot at the same time in different directions. So as you're running around, you can fire at the same time, even though it is slightly slower. It's nothing like Robotron 2084 or the other games we played in the arcades. But this one's a nice touch, programming on both ends, so you can have one hand controller or your hand on the disc, and then the other hand go. Oh, I missed him. And the other hand, on the other hand, controller controlling where the disc is going to go with the number pad. You can't block unless you have your disc in your hand. There we go. I'll give it a weak 4. Nice. A soft 4 out of 5 stars. I'm already thinking of all the games you could play on a home console. I'm looking around the 4-star range. If you want something faster, you can get it with Berserk on Atari right now, or Marauder on Atari, but it's not going to have the same exact same mechanics. Tron's getting beat up. If you're a fan of the film, though, this would have been really cool to see in the arcade if they could implement that with the other 4 minigames. I guess they could have put it in the center. There we go, looking good. There's another one. He's warming up. Love that animation. Just like in the movies. Awesome. Curtis going to 3.5 to 4. Victor 3.5 as well. Yeah, you could spend a lot of time on this, and because it's a one-player game, I can understand taking turns. But you could also, if you have 2 controllers, you could technically do the unofficial 2-player game. One person's moving around Tron, the other person is shooting the disc off, and I'm sure people did that. So glad they programmed that in, because you wouldn't be able to do that with Night Stalker or Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. But that's a completely different league of game. Advanced Dungeons & Dragons does the pseudo twin stick control, but it's really not meant to be that way. It's even slower than this. And your arrows are limited. I'm not sure. That's a great question. Yeah, re-released. I know there's been ways you can play the Intellivision titles on other platforms, but no. Yeah, the original film has another remake, but of course we have Tron Legacy that came out later. All right, so pay attention to the graphics. These were done by Eric Wells, and the sound effects, those cool de-rezzing sound effects, were done by Bill Goodrich. I kind of feel spoiled. We played a lot of Intellivision games, and this one is one that doesn't talk to us, and it's a lot quieter than something like B-17 Bomber. Can every Intellivision game talk? No, sadly it can't. I'd still say of all the games you could play on a home console, of all the consoles right now, this one's still a 4-star title. A well done one, and proof that Intellivision really isn't churning out the turds. It's Atari VCS that has the really bad duds out there. Yeah, there we go. That's true. Disney does have a lock on it. All right, and with that, let's see our next game. Ladies and gentlemen, we've done it. We're now at the realm of, at some time in August 1982, these games were released. So this may have been the beginning of August, may have been at the end. We're now beginning the release date where we couldn't pinpoint exactly or around whenever it could have been. Now, August is going to be the end of summer, so a lot of these releases are also ones that could have been released at some time in summer of 1982. So just bear that in mind. Here's our first one. It's Alcatraz II for the Dragon 32. We already saw this on the TRS-80 Coco, December of 1981, and here it is, checking it out in the United Kingdom for everyone to play over there. Let's take a look at the box. Alcatraz II. This one's done by Microdeal. Bust out and beat the Minotaur. Remember when the Minotaur was in Alcatraz? Maybe because it's the sequel. Alcatraz II. That's right, Atlas. And we also have what you would have seen. Oh, so cool. So this is the ad for the Dragon home computer. I think this is the first ad we've seen because we didn't have one for the last release we saw. If you own a Dragon 32 family computer, this is especially for you. What's the deal? Micro deal. So we're going to see all these coming up really, really soon. Mansion Adventure, Space Monopoly Escape, and Flipper. Yeah, we'll be checking those out pretty soon. Yes, with an example of the screenshot. Last time we played this was with Chris Alimo when he came on the show. Let's pop in and play Alcatraz II. This is by Michael R. Hewley of Spectral Associates, published by Microdeal at sometime in August 1982. We're going to load this one up with cassette and go really, really fast. Yes. Nice. Loads around the same that we've seen before. And if you're thinking it's going to be a prison-style game, it actually has a few elements of stealth. If you've already seen the Coco showcase that we played, then this is pretty much the same thing. You're not going to get anything special. The only thing that different with how we're playing this time is we're going to have to flip the cassette over, because the Microdeal cassette had two sides to it. And it may have been the same for the Coco. Welcome to the most escape-proof prison ever designed. Way to go, Michael. Welcome to Alcatraz II. As your fellow inmate, I would like to give you a few hints to help you escape. No one's actually reached freedom from this prison. Several have tried. So the beginning of Alcatraz II, this is the first side of the cassette. It gives you the opening. What's the story like? Or how this game is played. With a few tips, which is kind of nice. So if you didn't have the original cassette, or the sleeve, or inside instructions, it's all right here in the game. That's right. Yeah, we're going to see a lot of games we've already seen on Coco on the Dragon 32. And the reason it says Dragon 64 is by next year, the Dragon is going to have an upgrade and be shipping with the 64, so it's interchangeable. We're going to use 32 and 64 around. So this is explaining what we look like, what the guards look like. And I'll explain when we go into the game. It's the same gameplay that we last played on the TRS-80 Coco. And there's the dreaded Minotaur. If you make it far enough, you have to move room by room and lure the guards to open doors to let you through. Oh, but the Minotaur can pass through the walls and force fields. I really hate the force fields. Oh, really? So we're going to see even better games later. Nice. And there's the switch box. Control the force fields that are adjacent to by entering a switch box. You activate a sequence which shuts the force field slowly from top to bottom of the screen. And notice all this intro. This is a lot of instructions in-game. We're kind of used to seeing this on the inside sleeve or flap of the game. You have to shut this off to go through it, since they're too small. Oh yeah, and after we've already had the brand new Commodore 64 come out. Everyone's going to be pushing for more memory, and the Commodore 64 comes stock, which is awesome. You had to bump up to 64. Love the tidbits, Curtis. Keep them coming. Yeah, look at all this text. There's still more instruction on how to play the game. One prisoner reported that there were actually sentry robots used later in the defenses. Because you go room by room, it's like a single screen or flip screen, top-down maze game with doors that open only whenever the guards come by. But every room you go to, it adds more to it. So there's some strategy hints. And now turn the tape over and load Alcatraz, which we are not going to do. We're going to actually just load our state up so we don't have to wait for the cassette to load. So how do we want to play? We're on the Dragon. Let's play Dragon. And we got joysticks plugged in. Let's do it. Ready to play some Alcatraz 2. I'm in the top left as the green prisoner. Everybody else are the guards. Now, as the guards move to the doors, you kind of have to lure them over to your spot. It's line of sight, and once they open the door, they pass through. It looks like he's ignored us. That was easy. You can't move anything past these doors. When the guards move past, then you can go through. So I see this one coming to the corner. I'm going to go down here and make my way to the right here. It's a very slow affair of a game, though. Notice whenever I move, it's a flicker and a slower movement. We were talking about lag on the game Ribbit on the Apple II. This one is extreme lag. It trudges along, like early TRS-80 Coco titles, programmed in BASIC. All right, let's see if he can get in the door and they ignore us. Nope, I think he's going to find us. Yep, they got us. Yeah, everything's basic on this. I can feel it. I can feel the basic. So do you want to try again? Yes, let's do it again. We'll do better this time. The idea is you want to get to the right side of the exit. And then when you get to the exit, it moves to another room, and it gets progressively more difficult. All right, we got to get out of here before the guard opens this door and starts following us. Because once they get you in line of sight, they start beelining toward you. Got to be faster. When we last played this, I didn't even get to the other side. I didn't see the other room because there's a lot of randomization here. See, follow this guard. He's going here. Oh, move. I gotta get out of the way. I'm gonna go up. You almost kind of have to not really play it like a stealth game at first. You want to let the guards just do what they want and open all the doors and then make your escape. So I'll just hide out over here on the left side. Thanks, Mark. Is that sarcastic? Or is it nostalgia of the sounds? Yeah, this is a very physical prison. Everyone's doing workouts. Victor. Uh-oh, there it is. I gotta get out of the way. Move. It's so slow. While it does tell you ahead of time that the force fields are coming and the lasers are gonna shoot down, you still move so slow to move. Yeah, they got us. That time they disintegrated us. Do you want to try again? Against my better wishes, I'll say yes. All right, let's try this again. Avoiding the guards. We do want to keep them in line of sight because they move faster. Notice the one at the top? He's quickly going to the doors, but the ones in the bottom right, they move slow. Yes. I honestly would rather play Prisoner 2, which was a more obscure game based on the TV show, and it was more of an adventure title. This one is more action, it's true, but it's just very, very slow paced. Let's see if we can get that guard. I'm watching all three at the same time, seeing which patterns they move around. All right, I have a way to go to the top all the way across. And it is random every time. And it kind of reminds me of the games that are tough luck games. You will just keep trying and dying over and over and over again until you get the hang of it. Or maybe you get lucky. They didn't de-res us. We're not playing Tron. We're playing jumping jacks in Alcatraz II. All right, we got another one. I think Yep, here they come. I'm getting out of the way this time. Faster, quick! So you get in between them. Got it. Are they going to destroy the guards? Please kill the guards. No, the guards, of course, did not die. But what, all the force fields come back after that? That's so hardcore. How are you going to... You would have to play this so much to get used to where the guards are going to go. It does. This really captures the spirit of being in prison in the future. So this means I got to start working my way over because otherwise it's not gonna get anywhere after this. Just brutal. Okay, I'm gonna have to just work my way around the side. When we play games here on the show, I understand and recognize there are games that take a while to get used to. And this game would take you a while to get used to. And also have the patience for. Wow, how many wings? Do you know how many wings it is? Alright, let's see if we can get over to the right before all the lasers close everything up. Oh no, they're coming the other way! I don't think we're going to move it in time. Nope. They went the other direction. So it didn't even get to the first wing of the game. And there we go, let's break that sucker. So there's Alcatraz II. You would need a lot of patience to get used to it. There is more rooms than just that one. I'll include links down below where you can watch some long plays if you wanted to see more of Alcatraz II. I'd say of all the games we could play, it is interesting having the stealth element. And here on the Dragon 32, this is the second game we've ever seen. So if you had this computer, you would have a blast. Because there's only 2 games so far. But I'd say of all the games you could play on every home computer, this is a 1.5 star around the bad range, just like we had when we played on the TRS-80 Coco. Scruffy's going 3, very generous. Yeah, it has gameplay, and it does work. It is not broken, but I'm going to say it is very slow and bad considering the other titles that are out there for all the other home computers. Yeah, I like the concept. If it was only faster, maybe if this was just redone, the exact same game, but in assembly. It would be probably a lot better. Yeah, I see a 1.5 there from Mark. 2 by this time. Oh, so 2 from Curtis. Very nice. Still interesting that you would call it bad, though. All right, and with that, let's see what our next game is. On the brand new Commodore 64, we'll be right back after this.
Here's a new personal computer from Commodore, with a third more built-in memory than the Apple II, at half the cost. The Commodore 64.
That's how you do it. You eat the apple. That's what the Commodore 64 is going to do. They are going to tear apart the apple. This is Alien Panic 64 on the Commodore 64. We last saw Alien Panic on the VIC-20 in August by Nufcop. So here we go. We're now in the United Kingdom playing Alien Panic 64, possibly one of the first games you played on your Commodore 64. Here's the box for Alien Panic 64. Dig and trap the alien against the clock. It's the same gameplay, or pretty similar to that we played it on the Commodore VIC-20. And there's a cassette we're going to pop in by Bubble Bus Software in the United Kingdom. Yes, right? The ad's already trying to tear down the apple. It's pretty powerful, though. Can the Commodore tear down the apple? Let's pop it and play Alien Panic 64. At sometime in August 1982, this is developed by the Computer Room, published by Bubble Bus Software. We're fairly familiar with this formula, or at least the one we had played earlier. Alien Panic plays just like any other Panic game. Wow, the screen looks way smaller than it was on the Commodore VIC-20. Look how tiny I am. It does work with a Commodore 64 joystick. I can attest to that. We first seen Space Panic in November of 1980, and then Apple Panic was one of the variants that took off in 1981. So far, we've seen about 18 Panic-like games like this. So there's been 18 that we've already seen on the channel. And this one may have been done by Scott Elder because the VIC-20 one was done by Scott Elder of Nufcop, but I'm not sure. All right, so is that only just one alien at the top? Let's see. Oh man, we dig really fast and load it up. Maybe I have more than 64 on this. See how fast he. Yes, it is running in super mode right now. I'm looking at the left. No, the left is still going at the same. That's interesting. Look at the time on the top left. So it's not a problem with the. It's actually letting me dig and bring the alien back. But notice the aliens. It's staying on the same line. It's not going anywhere else. Maybe this was a rush job to get out to the Commodore 64. Quick! There's a new computer. We need to get Alien Panic out there. Everyone loves Panic games. Yeah, that's what it is. Whenever you finish the level, the alien just goes to the next one down. So it's moving one at a time. Goes to the top, then works its way down. Yeah. That's right. It is on speed. It's the 80s. Oh, yeah. Really, really quick. So it zooms along, but it feels like this is very rushed to get something out for the Commodore 64. The VIC-20 was playing a little bit better. Let's see. Yeah, it falls. It's doing it, but it's a weird way of programming the game. The alien starts at the top row. Once you've dug up and completed the top row, then the next time the alien goes in the next row, and it just works its way down. So it doesn't have a lot of the nuance or fun of the other games we've seen. And Europe has already seen some Panic variants. They already have the Monsters game on the BBC Micro that people would have played already. You know, if you had ability to play all the home computers that were out there. Yeah, look at that. It's just, whenever you finish digging up the alien, then it just falls to the next row. Yeah, I checked the speed. There is nothing supercharged or powerful. I mean, look at the top left. It's using the correct countdown, so the timer is right, but something's up with how quickly the game's running. Maybe that's true. That's a good point, Curtis. It's possible, and I don't know for sure if this was Scott Elder. There may have been another developer that did this one. But not as impressive as the Commodore VIC-20's version. That one's rough. I'm going to say the Commodore 64 is new, so you could, say it's not really that comparable to the other games you could be playing. But I'm still going to say this is around close to the broken range. If you think of all the other games you could be playing on home computers, of all the home computers, and think of the games that you could be playing that we've seen for the Commodore 64. So I'm going to say 1 star. This one could have been played and done much better. And there's lots of other Panic games you could be playing that are better than this. Yeah, there's very limited on the sound. You got a SID chip inside this computer, but you didn't put any cool sounds on there? It's just crazy. Yes, toss it in the landfill. I'm with you, Victor. I know it's kind of harsh thinking this is the new Commodore 64, but there's better games out there. Yeah, 1 star for the 64, definitely. All right, let's see what our next game is. We're still in the United Kingdom. We're now on the Commodore VIC-20, and this is Android Attack. Not to be confused with the other Android Attack we played. This one's by Titan. Here's the box or the cartridge, the cassette you would have seen for the time. Titan programs, all you need is the unexpanded VIC-20 to play. Let's pop it and play Android Attack at sometime in August 1982 by Titan Programs. And so this one is a deep space fight of your spaceship encounters serious trouble. An order to abandon ship is called. You are quick enough to escape from the limping spaceship, and just as you cleared the danger zone, you see your spaceship blown to pieces. Your life capsule lands you safely on the nearest planet, which happens to be Jupiter, but it has unfortunately landed in the maze of death patrolled by the deadly androids. You move about the maze of androids and pick up the different pieces about. All right, so that's the quote-unquote story for the game, if you want to call it that. Yeah, right. If we get not a lot of love or not a lot of artwork, then it usually means it's not very good. So we can use the joystick on our Commodore VIC-20, which is nice. Pressing the key, let's go. Oh, nice touch. We've seen only one other game, I think, that allowed us to play as the invaders from Space Invader. So I'm playing as the alien, or the alien-like creature. And it's a Pac-Man-like game, picking up all the dots on the maze. But as we play, we have one android that moves around, and we just can't touch that android. And now, the longer you last or survive, it's going to add more and more androids. And we already got us. Ooh, cool sound effect. So we lasted till 2 androids, and then died, and so it's going to keep the high score. So you just have to avoid that android, yeah, make your way around. And kind of cool that it's not strictly limiting my control to 4 directions. I actually can move diagonally. So I got 8-way movement on the Commodore VIC-20, which has been better than a lot of the other Pac-Man or Maze-style games. They only let us go up, down, left, and right. I just realized when I was messing with the controls, yeah, I have this slight extra movement. So I only lasted until 3 androids that time. Got a higher score, 600 points, nice. Oh man, it didn't last very long. Yeah, it's another Pac-Man. I kind of feel like this plays better or more fun than Pac-Man on the Atari VCS. But that's comparing console to computer. But cool idea. Start off with 1 android. Oh, they warp in randomly, so they can just warp in right on top of you, which is not fair. Still feels like a Rush title. I actually feel like this would be part of a compilation you would have seen in the United Kingdom. But Titan Programs, it was on 1 cassette. So you didn't get this with a compilation of other games. Just get as much as you can, score, pick up as many dots as you can, and I'd like to see what happens if we clear the screen, but I don't think so, because over time, the androids flood in. We're going to get more and more show up on the screen. Wow, yeah, you gotta be really quick. Maze looks like it's not changing, but I'm doing better. Having never played the game before, we're getting a higher score the longer we play. So a definitely not broken game. I don't know if I'd say quite bad. It's kind of fun. Seeing how long you can last as it adds more and more to the game. So very simple premise. And I could see this with a fresh coat of paint, like the exact same gameplay, but done a little bit better or faster, maybe not tile-based. This would be a really fun time. And moving 8 different directions is kind of fresh on the Commodore VIC-20. Yes, just add to the story. You know they just made it up at the last minute anyway. So there you go. This is a fresh idea of the Pac-Man formula. I want to see more like this, or done better than this. All right, I'm watching the movement of the... Oh, we got the 3rd android over here. Gosh, you see that? I had to slip through. All right, I got a higher score. Still got 3 androids. Let's get all these dots on this side. Come on, last as long as you can. You also can't just sit there. You can't camp. You got to keep getting the points. All right, we got 4 androids now. Wow, Wow, for a title I thought would be in the bargain bin, this is actually really fun. And we're going to get a fourth one. I don't know where it's going to... or the fifth one showed up. Okay, it looks like they're clumped on one side. We're doing all right. And the randomness of where they show up works a little bit, but oh man, it's so tricky. Uh-oh, we made it to 6 androids. No! So cool. There we go. Yeah, not visually stunning. Gameplay's kind of cool, though. There we go. I got a high score of 1275. I feel pretty happy about that on the live show. All right, so of all the games you could play on a home computer, the VIC-20, this is actually really cool. I'd say for the VIC-20, I'd say 3.5 or even 4 stars. But considering everything else we've seen up to this point, it's not a bad title. I'd say around 2.5 or 3 stars, considering. Okay, from the chat, I'm seeing 3 stars from Kun and Victor. And yeah, the 8-axis is adding... It also depends on how you play, if you enjoy that. Because I was getting clipped a little bit on the corners, but it's just refreshing not having to go just 4 directions. Yeah, great time waster. I'll say 3 stars. It's about average for all the games you could play. I want to see this done again, a different kind. Yes, insane. Cool. On the Commodore VIC-20, let's see what's next. We're going to the Acorn Atom on, so that means we're still in the United Kingdom, and this is Atom Man. Atom Man is not a lot of information. I have the ad of the Acorn Atom you would have bought around this time. Only 120 pounds. Nice deal. Atom Man is the Pac-Man game you would play on your Acorn Atom. So up to this point in our history of everything we played so far, we've played about 60 different Pac-Man games or games like Pac-Man. And we've already seen the official Pac-Man on the Atari VCS and on the Atari home computer. We played Super Pac-Man in the arcade. That's the newest, coolest arcade Pac-Man game. And then if you were in the UK and you had every home computer, you'd be playing Munchie Man on your BBC Micro right now. And this one is a Pac-Man style game on the Acorn Atom, but sadly, this is I've only found one copy of this game to play on your Acorn Atom, and it does not load. So we won't be able to experience or play Atom Man. I really want to see what this one's like, considering the other ones you could play in the United Kingdom or the other ones we've seen to this point. So if you got another copy or another way we could play Atom Man, we'll check it out. But in the meantime, I have to bring this way down and around the 1-star range. We're going to call it broken, but I would love to see what Atom Man is like on the Acorn Atom. Oh, that's right. Yeah, so if you find a way for me to play, then I will check this out again and re-rate it. But in the meantime, Atom Man has to stay down here. Yes, that's right. They do. We're going to see that one soon. All right, so there's Atom Man. After that, let's see what our next game is. It's back on the Commodore 64, and this is Avenger. Avenger shouldn't be new to anyone. We've already seen this one already on the VIC-20 in 1981, and then in July of this year, we saw it on the Commodore Max machine, which essentially means you can take that cartridge from the Max machine and put it in your 64 if you have both home computers. Here's Avenger. Like what they did with the front of the box, we're going to shoot some things up. And it is cartridge on our brand new Commodore 64. Sweet. Let's pop it and play Avenger. This is by Commodore Business Machines at some time in August of 1982. Now, this is a bare-bones Space Invaders style game. If you wanted to check all the games we've seen up to this point that were just Space Invaders, we've already played about 70 different video games that play and look just like this. Not including games that are Galaxian, which is based on Space Invaders, or Phoenix, which is a take on Space Invaders. We're just talking about 70 games so far around that follow this formula. And this one looks pretty much just like the Commodore Max machine of the games we've seen so far. The Commodore VIC-20 is pretty close. It's pretty much the same idea. All right, let's fire and go. So you can do it as a 2-player game, but this one does not offer 2 players at the same time. Yep, there you go. Space Invaders all the way. It plays just like the Commodore VIC-20. Yes, no 116 game variations. The home console version of Space Invaders still kicks this one's butt. This is on a computer. And we have the single shot. It's very classic. It feels like we're playing the Space Invaders from the arcade. There's our UFO at the top. Sound actually sounds a little bit better than the Max Machine. No, it's the same as the Max Machine. A little bit better than the VIC-20, but that's just very nuanced. Yes, that's right. No yen shortage here. We can just keep playing on our Commodore 64 forever. This is another title that could arguably be one of the first games you played on your Commodore 64. And why not? Space Invaders, it's got to be everywhere. We will see it everywhere. Notice that every time they moved down one row, or they were changing, maybe it's every 2 rows, they were changing color, which is a nice touch. Yes, there we go. All right, so that's Avenger for the Commodore 64. I feel of all the games you can play on the home computer, this one's still about a 2.5-star game. It's a solid Space Invaders game, but not really doing anything particularly special or innovative. If you wanted to play, by the way, when I see this mentioned online, they say it's a 1-player only game, but I think we had the option to do 2 players. Nice. Oh, Adle's going 3.5 stars. Very nice. 4 from Errol. Yeah, it looks the part. It looks official, but it's not really doing anything impressive to push the rest of the genre. Now, Commodore 64, this would have been great. A solid title, a very well-done title for the Commodore 64. But thinking of all the games you can play on home computers, there's better shooters out there and fixed shooters you could be playing. Kun's going 3.5. Nice. Oh, 3 even though on the Commodore 64. Wow. 3 stars from Mark as well. Yeah, we played so many shooters and very well-done shooters on the home computer that I don't know if I can go 3. 2 vibranium shields out of 5. Love it, scruffy looking. Yeah, it is very retro. And it plays very well, so it's definitely not a bad game. If you had played or seen everything we've showcased on the channel, Astro Blast, we've already played on the TRS City Color computer. It's a really nice Space Invaders style game for a home computer. And then Krell on the Commodore VIC-20 is another one that takes this kind of idea and it plays well. It plays well too. All right, with that, it's time to put the video game playing on pause and continue another day. We're going to keep playing all the titles released sometime in August 1982. Tune in next episode for... we're going to be zooming through barns and ducking pesky geese. So that's it for today, and like I always say, this show is as good as we say it is. Hey everybody, thanks for checking out the channel and joining me on my quest to play every single video game in order of release. We'll be streaming live every weekday at 9 p.m. Central, so join us and let us know if you miss any games along the way. This video would not be possible without Launchbox, RetroArch, and MAME. Tell all your friends there's some crazy guy named Chronologically Gaming trying to play every single video game. We have links down below that'll send you to places like our Discord and Patreon, and one that says all the video games we've ever played. If you go there, it's a list of everything, and you can click right to the game you want to see. Chronologically Gaming is the name to look for. We are perpetually retro, and we will catch you next time.